In the small, bustling village of Umofia, there lived a boy named Chidi Ofonri. Chidi was like any other child, except for one peculiar trait: he was always hungry. No matter how much food he ate, he never seemed to be full. This insatiable hunger became both his blessing and his curse. Chidi was known throughout the village as the boy who could eat an entire pot of yam porridge and still ask for more. The villagers found his bottomless appetite amusing at first, but as time went on, Chidi's habit of constantly begging for food became an annoyance. His parents, Okeke and Nena Ofonri, were humble farmers who worked tirelessly to provide for their family. They loved their son dearly, but they were baffled and troubled by his unending hunger. "Chidi, my son, what is this hunger that never ends?" his mother, Nena, would often ask, watching in disbelief as Chidi devoured yet another plate of food. "I don't know, Mama," Chidi would reply, his eyes wide with innocence. "I just can't get full, no matter how much I eat." As Chidi grew older, his hunger became more than just a family problem, it became a village-wide issue. Chidi had developed a habit of telling the villagers that his parents never fed him, hoping to arouse their pity. The kind-hearted villagers, not wanting to see a child go hungry, would often give him food. It wasn't long before Chidi was eating meals from half the village, and everyone believed that Okeke and Nena were neglectful parents. "That poor boy," the villagers would say, shaking their heads. "His parents must be so cruel to let him go hungry like that." Okeke and Nena were heartbroken when they heard the rumors circulating about them. They were anything but neglectful. In fact, they went to great lengths to ensure that Chidi was well fed. They couldn't understand why their son would lie about something so serious. "We have to do something, Okeke," Nena said one evening, as she and her husband sat on the porch, watching the sunset. "Chidi's lies are bringing shame to our family. We need to teach him a lesson." Okeke nodded in agreement. "Yes, Nena. We must teach him that his actions have consequences." "But how do we do that? The boy eats like he has a bottomless pit for a stomach." Nena thought for a moment, then a mischievous smile spread across her face. "I have an idea, my husband. We will cook the biggest meal this village has ever seen, a feast so large it could feed half of Umofia. And then, we will make Chidi eat every last bite." Okeke raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "And you think this will teach him a lesson?" "It will," Nena replied confidently. "When Chidi sees that there is a limit to what even he can consume, he will realize the error of his ways." The plan was set in motion. Over the next few days, Okeke and Nena prepared for the grand feast. They gathered yams, cassava, plantains, vegetables, and every type of meat available: goat, chicken, and fish. They cooked and cooked, their pots bubbling with delicious aromas that wafted through the village. Word spread quickly about the feast, and the villagers were eager to see what would happen. Many were curious if Chidi could indeed eat such a large amount of food, while others secretly hoped that the boy would finally learn his lesson. On the day of the feast, Chidi came home to find the dining table piled high with food. His eyes widened in amazement. There was pounded yam, egusi soup, jollof rice, fried plantains, and enough meat to start a small farm. The sight made his stomach growl in anticipation. "Wow, Mama, Papa, what is all this?" Chidi asked, licking his lips. "This, my son," Okeke said with a serious expression, "is your dinner. You said you're always hungry, so we decided to make sure you never go hungry again." Chidi was thrilled. "Thank you, Papa. Thank you, Mama. I can't wait to eat." Nena smiled, but there was a hint of something else in her eyes. "There's just one condition, Chidi. You must finish all the food on this table. Every single bite." Chidi hesitated for a moment, but his hunger quickly overpowered any doubts. "No problem, Mama. I can do it." With that, Chidi began to eat. He ate with gusto, shoveling food into his mouth as if he hadn't eaten in days. At first, it seemed like he would easily finish the meal. The villagers, who had gathered outside the house to watch, were amazed at how much Chidi was consuming. But as time passed, something unexpected happened. For the first time in his life, Chidi began to feel full. His stomach, which had always seemed bottomless, was starting to ache. He slowed down, each bite becoming a struggle. "Mama. Papa." Chidi gasped, looking up from his plate. "I don't think I can eat anymore." But Okeke and Nena were firm. "No, Chidi," Okeke said, his voice stern. "You said you were always hungry. Now, you must finish what you've started." Chidi's eyes filled with tears as he forced himself to keep eating. The once delicious food now tasted like sand in his mouth. His stomach felt like it was going to burst, but his parents wouldn't let him stop. The villagers watched in silence, some of them starting to realize what was happening. Chidi, the boy who had always claimed to be hungry, was finally being shown the consequences of his greed and lies. Finally, after what felt like hours, Chidi couldn't take it anymore. He dropped his spoon and fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "Please, Mama, Papa, I can't eat anymore. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for lying. Please forgive me." Okeke and Nena exchanged glances, and then Nena spoke softly. "Do you see now, Chidi? Do you see what happens when you are dishonest and greedy? Your lies have caused pain and shame, not just to us, but to yourself as well." Chidi nodded, his face red with shame. "I see, Mama. I see, Papa. I was wrong. I promise I will never lie about being hungry again. I will never say that you don't feed me. Please forgive me." His parents' expression softened, and Okeke helped Chidi to his feet. "We forgive you, Chidi," Okeke said gently. "But remember this lesson. Hunger is not something to be taken lightly. There are people in this world who truly suffer from hunger, and it's not right to pretend to be one of them just to get more food." The villagers, who had been listening to the entire exchange, began to laugh. But it was not a mocking laughter, it was a laughter of relief and understanding. They had seen Chidi learn a valuable lesson, and they hoped it would stick. Chidi wiped his tears and looked around at the villagers, feeling a deep sense of shame. But he also felt something else, a sense of resolve. He knew he had been wrong, and he was determined to change. From that day on, Chidi Ofonri became a different boy. He no longer begged for food from the villagers, and he no longer told lies about his parents. He learned to appreciate the food he was given and never took more than he needed. The villagers noticed the change in Chidi and began to respect him. They saw that he had learned his lesson and was trying to make amends. And in time, the rumors about his parents faded away, replaced by stories of how Chidi had grown into a responsible and honest young man. Chidi's parents, Okeke and Nena, were proud of the boy their son had become. They knew that the lesson had been a harsh one, but it was necessary. Chidi had needed to see the consequences of his actions to understand the value of honesty and the importance of gratitude. As the years passed, Chidi continued to grow and learn. He became known throughout Umofia as a hardworking and kind-hearted young man. He never forgot the lesson his parents had taught him that fateful day, and he made sure to share it with others, especially younger children who might be tempted to make the same mistakes he had. And so, the tale of Chidi Ofonri and his endless hunger became a story told by the fireside in Umofia. It was a story of greed, lies, and the power of a parent's love to teach even the hardest lessons. And in the end, it was a story of redemption, as Chidi grew from a boy who could never be satisfied into a man who learned the true meaning of contentment.